Welcome to the Richard Lloyd USA YouTube channel. I'm Richard Lloyd. Today I'm making another old router video. This is the WR841N from TP-Link. I'm going to be showing you how to rescue it from a bricked state or how to recover it or revert it back to the stock firmware regardless of what's on it. So if you put something like DD-WRT or OpenWRT, which are third-party open source firmwares that you can replace the stock firmware with and experiment with, and actually excellent stuff. And I will be showing you making a video on this router on how to do that. But on this video, and before I make any videos to put third-party firmware on a router, I always make one showing you how to take it off. So in case that if something goes wrong or you want to go back to the stock firmware with the this router, this is the TP-Link again, then you can. And this video will show you how to do that. It will also show you how to take it from a state that isn't working back to the stock firmware from TP-Link, and basically the factory out of the box experience with the stock firmware. So one of the things you need to know, for instance, is that this router, this is a version 9. It's actually 11 years old at this point, and it's been out of service or out of end of service, I would say, or end of life. In other words, TP-Link hasn't made a new firmware for it in 5 years. So there's actually a total of 41 vulnerabilities for this model of a router, all of them from version 1 all the way to 14. And if you're using stock firmware, you need to realize that most of it is out of service, meaning that it's not being updated anymore. So there is a high likelihood that there's vulnerability on your stock firmware. So I strongly urge you not to use these on the internet or mission critical places, because they're vulnerable. But if you put the third-party firmware on it, like I'm going to show you in my next video, then that's all fixed and you can use it all you want, anywhere you want. So caution there. All right. So let's go get the software we need to go to do this with. First thing, well, you can see the vulnerabilities here. There's 41 in the search that I did. There's the end of service list, and you can find that on the TP-Link site, and you can see that the 841, all of them are out of service at this point. But what we're going to do is we're going to go to we're going to go get a program called TFTPD64. So do a Google search for TFTPD64, and then you're going to go to GitHub. So I'll go here, go to the download page, and here we're going to get this TFTPD3264 program. Currently it's 4.73, but we're going to go get the 64-bit. Most people have 64-bit operating systems, so we're going to go get this one. If you don't, just take the 32. It works just the same. But we're taking the exe right here. So just click on that. And here we're going to create a new folder. And I'm going to call it, well, you should just follow me on this, TFTPD64. All right? That way you can just follow the video all the way along and get the same results really easily. So TFTPD64, then we're going to open that up and drop that file in there. All right, once it's downloaded, there it is. I'm going to click it and go to that folder. There we go. And you can see that it's here. So just double click it and that'll begin the install program. Say yes to the question. Next. And here, this is the default location. We're going to change that. We're going to click Browse here. And I'll tell you why here in a second. And then we're going to click on Downloads. And then go to that folder we just created, which is TFTPD64. There we go. So then hit OK. Now the reason for this is because this program looks for files to serve out, which is what it's going to be doing, from its root directory or from where it was installed. So if we put it all in the same directory in the downloads directory, perfect, right? It's simple. So do as I show you. It's much simpler. And then we're going to hit next. Now here you got two check marks. You can uncheck the create desktop shortcut if you wish. I like it on my desktop, so we're going to leave it there. But this one, allow TFTPD64 through Windows Firewall, must be checked off. If it's not, then the program won't work because the firewall will stop the communication between your computer and the router. And that's frustrating. So just make sure that's checked off. And if you have any antivirus programs running on your computer, make sure that the firewall on that is disabled for at least, you know, when you're using this program to do this, because firewalls will automatically stop these communications, and it just won't communicate between the two things. So make sure your firewalls are off. Okay, and here we're going to hit install. It's a very quick install, and click finish. Now, what we're going to need to do next is physically connect the router to our computer. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to use an Ethernet cable. And this can't be done wirelessly. Don't ever try. And because it just could end up with a brick router. So here we're going to go next. And we're going to connect that Ethernet cable on the back of the router and any of the yellow ports. The blue one will work too, but this router is kind of an exception on that. Most of them will only work on the LAN ports, not the internet port, but just plug it into one of the orange ones and, you know, go from there. Then we're going to plug the other end of the cable into the back of your computer into an Ethernet port. If you don't have an Ethernet connection, you can buy a USB dongle, as I call them, but a USB to Ethernet connection for under $10, about $10 on Amazon. And I'll put links for that in the video description below. Again, if you're using a laptop, plug it into the laptop regardless. You need something with Ethernet on it running Windows. So then we'll do that. And the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to show you on the back that there's two buttons on the back of the router that we're going to be using. The one well, actually two buttons you could use, but we're only going to use one of them, and that's the WPS reset. Don't use the Wi-Fi button. It doesn't do anything for this procedure. So when we go to reboot the router to get this to happen, this WPS reset button is the one we're going to be holding down for 5 seconds. It's the closest one to the orange port. All right, that's step one. Next thing we need to do is actually, well, we've got TFTP installed. Next thing we need to do is set up our networking environment for this to work. It's basically, well, I'll show you. First thing I'm going to do is disconnect from Wi-Fi because you only want to be connected to the router physically to your network card. That's it. Everything else disconnected. Okay, that keeps things simple. So right-click your network icon down here. Open Network and Internet Settings, then go to Change Adapter Options, and currently I got everything turned off, so I'm just going to turn the router on because I got two Ethernet cards, so I'm going to turn it on, and that is plugged into the back of my computer right now. That's there. So you see that one is identifying. That's Ethernet 2. Okay, so that's the adapter that I'm going to be using. You can do the same thing to figure it out. Most computers only have one anyway. So I'm going to right click that one. I just turned off the router, and we're going to choose properties on it. And we're going to put a specific IP address in here. So again, right click it, properties, go to TCP IP version 4. Here we're going to use the following IP address, and remember we got to come back in here and reset this back to the way it was, but right now we need this changed correctly. So here we're going to put 192.168.0.66. okay, this number specifically has to be in here. If it's not, then the router will never find your computer. Next, we click on the next box, the subnet mask. It should auto-populate. Make sure there's 3 255s in here and a 0 at the end. If not, just fill them in yourself. This is the way it's supposed to look, just like this. And the rest, you just leave it alone and hit OK. And OK one more time. There we go. And at this point, we're just going to minimize this out of the way because, like I said, we got to come back and reset that to the proper settings again. Here, we're going to minimize this and this. Get back to the desktop, and there's my TFTPD there. We're going to run it. There we go. And what we're doing here is you need to know which version of the router you have. In my case, it's a 9, but this sticker on the bottom of my router was ripped off, and I couldn't really tell which one it was. But when you run the TFTPD program and this router goes looking for the file, it actually tells you which file it's looking for. And in that file name will be the version. And I've got a notepad here with all the possible file names you could have. here's basically the list of file names that you could have for this router looking for. In mine, it should be this one, WR841 bin, blah, blah, blah. But again, easy way to find out. Let's just do this. So at this point, double click the TFTP link. I've stretched mine out because I like to have lots of space in it. Now here we're going to go to Log Viewer tab. Just leave that on your screen. Next thing we're going to do is have the router plugged in. We're going to power it up, and we're going to hold that reset button I showed you earlier for 5 seconds. So what we're going to do is first hold the reset button down while the router is powered off, and then we're going to hold it for 5 seconds after we power it off. So I'm going to power it up now. I'm holding down the reset button. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let it go. And look at that. So the router is looking for the file right now. It's not going to find it because it's not there. But here, I'm just going to hit power down the router. It's asking for the file and it's telling you the name here. So I'm going to hit copy and put this into Notepad again. So if I drop this in here, I hit copy on the program, right down here, the copy button. Here I'm just going to right click and hit paste. There you go. And you can see it's asking, connection received from 86, blah, blah, blah. Read request for file. WR841 version 9, so V9. So that's telling me right now and telling me what kind of, which version you have. Now, if it's an 11, it'll be different. If it's a 8, it will be different. Regardless, that request tells you which version you have. And that's important because we have to go get the firmware, the right version of firmware for your router, not for my router, but for your router. So run this first before you go get it. So here I'm going to turn on Wi-Fi. Again, connect to the internet through Wi-Fi. There we go. Going to go to our browser here, and we're going to go to TP-Link. Actually, here's the easiest way to get there. WR841N, N841N, firmware. Here we go. Just type that in. And you can see here, download for TL, blah, blah, blah. So we go to the TP-Link site. You can see that they're up to version 14.8, but I have a version 9. You choose your version, which you should know now if you couldn't read it off the bottom of your router. There's what I have, the 841N. And click on firmware, and then just scroll down. And choose any one of these, but I mean, really the latest one would probably be the best one. So I'm going to choose the latest one here. And I'm going to save it to my downloads TFTPD 64. I want everything in the same folder. Makes life easy. All right. And if you notice there, that's a zip file. That means it's compressed. Minimize this stuff out of the way. And let's go to the folder. And there it is right there. So what we're going to do is right click that. Choose extract all. Go with the defaults. And then extracts it all. I'm just going to close this off. Go back to the root directory. Now you see that I have a folder called TL-WR841, blah, blah, blah. You can see it right there. So double click that. And then you have this one with weird letters, but it doesn't matter. Double click this folder. Now this is the file, the firmware file right here, the bin file, okay? What we need to do is copy that. So right click it, choose copy. We're going to go back to the TFTPD 64 directory right there. And we're going to paste it in here. Okay. Now, go back to my notepad. Oops, that's not notepad. There we go. And I'm just going to copy that file name straight from the notepad. You could probably, well, you can't really copy it straight from TFTPD. That's why I put it in notepad. So yeah, definitely copy it from TFTPD and put it in the notepad. So there we go. Copy it, right click it, copy. And now what we're going to do is go back here to the TFTPD 64 folder and rename that file to what it's looking for. So rename it, and I'm going to hit Control A to select everything in there. And then I'm going to hit Control V. You can right click it and hit paste too. There we go. Now there's the file it's looking for. It's looking for this file name, and we just changed the firmware to that file name. So now at this point, we're ready to go. What we're going to do here is I'm going to close this program off, TFTPD, open it up again. There we go. I'm going to disconnect from Wi-Fi just to have no chance of this going the wrong way. We've got the IP address correct, all that, because it already tried to get the file. Once again, hold down the reset button, power off, power it on, hold the reset button for 5 seconds. So powering it on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, let go of the reset button. But leave the power on, and there you go. Saw that? That's it. Now, at this point, we're waiting for the router to reboot, and it will. And when it does, we're going to go look at it and see what state it's in. Perfect. Currently, I know that the default firmware is in there, the one that we just put in. So I'm going to close this off because we're done with that for now. Right now, I'm just waiting for it to reboot. So what we're going to do, actually, let's go to our network. It is plugged in. All right. Yeah. And unidentified network. So you can see that it's booting up here. It's still doing it. Now, if you're in a boot loop, you'll see that number, that identified network come up and keep going in the cycle, and it never ever connects, right? Well, this will connect. Oh yeah, I forgot one more thing. Right-click your network icon. Yeah, I understand my problem here. Right. My apologies here. Right-click it. Go back here to TCP/IP. Sorry, let's do this right. Right-click it. Go to Properties. I forgot. We got to set this back. IP address. There we go. So, obtain IP address automatically. Click that radio button. Obtain DNS server address automatically. Click that radio button. It should look like this. That's it. Click OK. OK. And now it will automatically get the IP address. And if you want to see it, you just right-click it. Go to Properties. Actually, go to Status. Right-click it. And then go to Details. And you should do this. And now you can see that all the IP addresses are here. The default gateway and the DHCP server and the DNS server are usually your IP address of your router. So right now, it's 192.168.0.1. So what we're going to do is open up the browser. I'll open up another link here. And then we're going to go to 192.168.0.1. Hit enter. And here's the home page for the router. And the default username and password, whoops, I got the caps on. Let's take those off. Is lowercase admin, and caps are, case is important. Everything's lowercase. And admin again. So admin, log in. And here we are. And you can see that the firmware version is the one we just put in, the 15.04.01. If you go back here, you can see right there, 15.04.01 US is the one that's in. Now you can put any version, stock version of the router's firmware into it using this process. I would not recommend doing this with anything other than stock, basically TP-Link firmware. But that's the process right there. At this point, this router is working. I would be very, very, again, cautious using this firmware live on the internet because I almost guarantee you that it's vulnerable, especially this one, which is over 5 years old, right? And I can show you that here. You can go check it yourself. Yeah, there's the download link. You can see on the firmware, which is the latest one for V9, 15.04.01, 2015, okay? That's 10 years ago, right? Yeah. And if you look back here at the vulnerabilities, you see that those go from 2025 all the way down to the bottom to 2012. So they may have patched it up to the 15 right here. But since then, and how many are there since then? Let's see. Well, 17. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Not on the list. So take away 4. You've got what, 37? Yeah. Vulnerabilities possible on this router. So yeah, I don't use this router with the default TP-Link firmware. I go with DD-WRT. It works great. Performance is as good, if not better, than the stock firmware, and you can do a lot more. So stay tuned for my next video where I show you how to put safe firmware into this router and how to use it and configure it at home as a regular router. Works great. All right. So that's it for my video. If this video helped you out in some way and you liked it, give me a big thumbs up. Give me a like on this video. That helps me on YouTube. Also, if you like my content and you want to see more of it, including the next video, which shows you how to make this router actually safe, you know, because really, if you look at what does TP-Link suggest, right? Contact us for replacement. Well, this is happening a lot, I've seen with routers. Basically, the router companies say, well, it's out of service. The only thing you can do is buy a new one. Right? Well, that's not true. I'll show you what you can do instead of buying a new one, and you just upgrade it to the third-party firmware, and off you go. Okay, so yeah, give me a thumbs up, a like at the bottom. If you like my content, subscribe to my channel. As part of the process, hit the bell icon, and then you'll be notified every time I put up a new video. And also, comment section, put your comments, questions, whatever, suggestions, video suggestions. I love those. Put that in the comment section. I do comment and, I do respond to those regularly. And sometimes I make videos from those questions as well. Also, in the video description, I'll put links for all this stuff, including affiliate links that are paid links for me for things like, you know, the USB to Ethernet dongle. And trust me, there are differences. The one I use primarily is very fast with Windows and Linux. So basically it's cross-compatible. Others are not. So use those links to buy stuff as it's the same price as just going directly to Amazon anyway. And, you know, basically I get a little bit of that sale and it doesn't cost you anything. So do me a favor, use those links. I appreciate that very much. I appreciate you watching and I appreciate you subscribing to my channel. Share, like, subscribe. You know what to do. That's it for my video. We'll see you on the next one. Thanks a lot and take care of yourself.